Okay, let's rebuild a flipper from a kit. First thing is you're going to put your flipper shaft in. Make sure the holes are all lined up. I like to snug these down, don't go all one shot. The reason I say don't go all in one shot, just in case it lifts, because the surface is not perfect. There we go. And just bring them home. Okay, next, let's go with the flipper stop. And we're going to use the supplied nuts, screws, bolts, whatever you want to call them. This is the coil stop. Sorry, I shouldn't call it a flipper stop. Kind of the same thing. I cheat, put the first one in. That way you're not sitting here trying to fiddle with a small screw. Same deal, don't over tighten. And don't lose the screw either. But do find it without much effort. So okay. Don't go crazy, guys, with power tools. Final tightening should always happen with a hand tool, just so you get the feel for it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now let's put a flipper coil in. I'm going to show you some of the parts too, right there. Okay, flipper coil. There's always some debate here on where the compression washer goes. I've seen them like this. Oh, you know, it might help. Putting this puppy in, might take up some of the slack. I've seen them go here. That's what we're going to do. But I've also seen, I've taken them apart like that as well. Okay, but I'm going to put it on the front. So we're going to put that, pop it on the stop, put that on, and then put this baby on. Okay. Okay, that's good. Move it around. Okay, it's got some play. Okay, she's not solid, tight plug. Okay, now let's put in the high voltage switch. So what we need here are the long screws and the bracket. So the bracket goes like that. This is critical. You got to get this the right way. So when the flipper opens, it breaks the contact right there. Okay, so let's screw this in. Just make sure, okay. Just going to loosen them to make sure that these are touching each other. So these are just stacked on top of each other, so there's the potential for the leaves to come out of alignment if this is not screwed in properly. Okay. There we go. And just double check. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to put it right there. Couple more screws. Okay, now the fun begins, the pull. All right, I have another video where I show you how you can just replace this part here, and it's just like a new flipper kit, but I didn't have the parts for this, so I had to buy a new flipper kit. Okay, that's what this is going to look like. So what happens is when it flips, it's going to open. It's going to pull this up, bang, and it's going to open the switch. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. Now there's a little C-clip here. Is there? Perfect. Okay. So look nice and tight. Just some minor, oh, nice and tight. Just some minor slop. Some of these things are like accordions when they get really worn because these are the wear spots. So these will give you nice, tight flipper snaps. So, getting old, guys. All right. Gonna put the flipper stops on. This might be a good idea, eh? All right, this goes here. So what we need to do is pop this in. And we got to be a bit of a contortionist here. I should have put this in after the fact, but we'll work our way around it. I'm not going to go too tight. I'm just going to get it to a point of snug that I can still maneuver it. Okay. Okay, going over, and the bottom screw here. I'm just gonna give it a snug, even though it's tight enough. But okay, there we go. All right, let's get that flipper in. The reason I'm putting the flipper in, because like it's got to be flat on, right? On an angle, it's not going to work too well. So this has to be flush. In goes the flipper. See, it's okay. There's the flipper shaft right there. So here we are. A couple of bolts. I'm not going to put the flippers in their final position. It's in the approximate right place, but it's not 100% dialed in. I will do that when we get the top all put together. And we're going to just put in these Allen set screws. Again, more just to hold that flipper from falling out, which I don't think it will. I'm not going to tighten it too much, because what happens is you leave witness marks on the flipper, on the shaft. You'll gouge it, and then when you go to adjust it, it might try to go back to where the gouge is, as a habit trail or whatever you want to call it. So just slight enough. Okay. The Allen screw I just put in place is in the wrong place. It needs to be put on the other side, which is 180 degrees to it. Down she comes. This is, we're going to adjust this. We're going to get it to 1/4 inch. And that's pretty well it. So now, now I'll start the wiring and wiring them up. Okay, let's wire up some flippers. I'm not going to actually do the soldering. I just want to show you where the wires go. So a lot of the times you're looking how to wire flippers up, especially, this is specific to the Ballys. So this again is KISS. And you look at pictures, you get confused because they're taken at the angles, whatever. So I'm going to show you a bird's eye view. This will help. Now, here's the wires we're going to be playing with. It's the green and the orange. This is from the driver board. Okay, and the brown here, this goes into the power supply. Okay, into the transformer, into that power supply. So I call this power. I don't know exactly. They call it illuminate, not some kind of a bus or whatever, right? But this is the main power that comes and feeds both coils. And then the green and the orange send the signal back to the computer to tell if it's flickering left or right. Okay, so now let's just move these out of the way. So what we got going down is, here's the brown wire. Okay, so the brown comes down, it's right here. So remember, it snakes down this highway. And then we've also got the orange and the green. Okay, green shoots off to the left side. I know this is my right hand, but this is the left side of the playfield, because remember, the playfield's turning around. So don't get confused. That's why I've got it marked a little higher up, that this is left, this is right. So the green hooks up here. Okay, that's where it lives. You're going to solder it, and away you go. Now the brown, oh sorry, let's go to the orange. So the orange lives over here. So it's the extreme left. We're looking at it right, but it's actually left side of the coil for both of them. Okay, so once you got that, you're halfway home. Okay, so both on the left side. Now, both on the extreme right side, or left, the way you're looking at it, don't get confused, are the browns. Okay, these are the browns coming from the power supply. Now, if you look under yours, you're going to see it the way you're going to see it. It's probably going to go from here. It's going to pull a daisy, and we'll actually do it. It'll daisy to here. Okay, it'll do a daisy to this brown. Then it'll go and daisy to the fuse. And then one wire will end up going to the brown lug. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat a bit here. It's going to accomplish the same thing, but I'm going to feed everything to the fuse and then draw from the fuse. So I'll actually do that just to show you guys what I'm talking about. And it's just going to clean it up a bit. I can imagine they probably, the reason they didn't do this in production is because obviously they don't want too many wires floating around. And plus, if you daisy in pairs, like here, we're introducing a 3-wire here at the fuse, which would have probably slowed them down on the assembly line back in the day. So that's why they went with the daisy, the 2 daisy. But we're going to cheat a bit here. Again, it's going to accomplish the same thing. So I'm just going to make sure. Again, I'm going to solder off camera just to speed things up. I do pre-solder. I'll pre-solder this. I'll pre-solder the fuse clip. And then when I go to put them together, it's going to be an easy solder. Okay, so that's going to go there. Let's just put it there for now. And then I'm going to, brown goes here. Okay. And then we're going to go under here. A brown will go here. Easy as pie. I'll solder these up and then I'll talk to how we break the chain of command over here. Okay? Okay, orange is hooked up, and just so you know, guys, I did write it down there. Brown, green. So green's on, orange is on, brown is on. I forgot to mention you got to hook up the little breaker wire. So one goes here. Let me get a better angle here. Yeah, one goes to the lower or upper lug. It doesn't really matter. Okay, and then the middle lug here will go to whichever one you don't use. Okay, so let me do that and I will bring you back. Again, so the brown, both browns have another wire attached that goes to the lug. I'm using a green with a yellow tracer just so it's a little easier to see. And I'll bring you back when that's wired up. There's the other side of the brake, which is going to get soldered to the middle lug. Same thing here. Okay, going to the middle. Done. Okay, so brown breaker wire, orange all by itself, and then breaker wire to the other side. So real quick, this is how Flipper works. So there's actually two coils in here. Okay, one of them is strong and one of them is very weak. So what happens is when you do your initial flick with the button, it needs strength to propel the ball. But once the ball is gone, all the flipper has to do is hold the flipper up when you're still pressing the button. So that's where this brake comes in. So the first initial flip is the real high current, the high power, bang, and then it brakes. See, brakes it, then it goes on the second coil. And the second coil is very weak, but it's strong enough to keep the plunger down. If you had full bionic power, the coil will melt, and that happens a lot. Sometimes if you don't adjust the gap here, so if it's still touching, there's no difference. It's not really breaking, right? If they're still touching in the open position, and it's the high coil that's holding it, and you'll literally melt the coil. Conversely, if the switch is not adjusted properly, it could cause a weak flipper as well if it breaks that contact too soon. Now, on to the rest of the solenoids. This is kind of a mid sort of video within the video. Again, we're doing a scratch build on a playfield wiring harness. So this is the flipper side. Now we're going to get to the solenoids, and then we're going to get to the lighting, and we're going to power this baby up. Rush fan over and out. Have a good one, guys.